What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day, and welcome back to the Armory.
As always, guys, the Armory is a podcast where we'll be breaking down kind of what it means to be a leader and all the various skills and traits that go along with it.
All right. Today, we're going to be really honing in on friendships and friend groups and really what it means to lead yourself within a friend group and lead your friend group.
The impact a friend group has on yourself.
Yes, yourself and your leadership ability.
Yeah.
All that. You want to go ahead?
Yeah.
Get started?
Absolutely. Obviously, very common problem for each and everyone watching today or not watching today is kind of your friends and the people you spend the most time around, which is kind of the quote we'll be focused on today is you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around. Obviously, that's a quote. It could be the 6, could be the 3, whoever your friend group, whoever you spend the most time with, that's who's really going to be influencing you the most.
Right. That's not like it is 5 people or it is 3 people. It's just it's your friend group, whatever that looks like.
Right. But yeah, a very common thing amongst people today is a lack of ambition. So a lot of people are in a friend group, don't have a whole lot of ambition. Big surprise, nobody else in the friend group has ambition either. Nobody wants to do anything productive. Nobody's motivated to do anything. Nobody has big goals. None of that. So that's a very big problem. A lot of people are often stuck because, they spend the most time with these 5 people. This is what they see every day, and so it's normal. All these bad things, they become normal to this person. So really just and I'll touch on this a little bit more later, but it's a process, slow process, and it doesn't happen on accident.
No.
So you have to be very intentional with who you spend the time with, who you spend your time with,
who you're making friends with.
Right.
What your friend group looks like. You're very intentional about keeping it clean.
Mm-hmm.
Like have a filter and have I don't know. You have a filter of who's allowed to go through the filter of your friend group, or they go through the filter and it doesn't filter everything out. They don't make it to your friend group.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're friends with somebody and you come to find out they're, not having the same goals as you, then it's time to cut them off.
Yeah, sure is. A nice analogy I've just heard from a while, I think I got it from my dad, and I've heard it other places as well, is the crabs in a bucket analogy. I was telling you a little bit about it. You hadn't heard it before. But I'm not sure if it was an experiment done or it's just kind of a thing that scientists know or whatever. But if you throw a bunch of crabs in one big bucket, what happens is the crabs will try to climb out, and the other crabs will pull them down in order for them to get out, and it'll be this endless cycle, and crabs will never get out of the bucket because the other crabs behind them are just pulling them down. So it's very similar, very good analogy for what we're talking about today, with surrounding yourself with 5 people that really, really motivate you and inspire you to do or to be your best self. You don't want to surround yourself with crabs inside of a bucket because they will just pull you down. No matter what, no matter if you are really ambitious, you're gonna be ambitious for a little bit, then go and hang out with your friends or with your voice crack. Hang out with your friends, hang out with maybe your biggest influence in your life, and it's just gonna be the total opposite of what you should want. Let me see if I can find this Bible verse I saved. It's Proverbs, and I actually have a few verses I'll talk about today from Proverbs. Great chapter for the topic we're discussing today. But it's Proverbs 13:20. It's whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. So I think that's a really good one. Really just biblical proof that You need to walk with the wise, or surround yourself with people who are smart. You know, it's another big quote is if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I mean, smartest can be, exchanged for many different words. It could be, if you're the strongest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're I don't know, you could sub that out with, honestly, a lot. But yeah, what you think about it?
That I don't know. I want you to talk about that the pot thing you heard on the podcast or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You guys will probably be almost just as surprised, but on a podcast I was listening to earlier, some people did a huge survey with a bunch of different people, men, women, whatever, in their early adult lives, and 72% of these people are not interested in being a leader in any sort of way, which is,
Dude, that's insane.
that's unbelievable.
I can't even like comprehend that.
That's
Because that's like all I want to be.
that's a vast majority.
That's
of
like
people.
the only some of the thing that or some of the few things I think every single day, like besides God and the Bible and like live my life through God, is like, how can I be a better leader, or what can I do to better lead people, whether I'm at work or I'm with my friends or whatever. Like, how can I better lead these people or this group of people that I'm with? Like, how can I grow myself? How can I grow them? Whatever. And then there's 72% of people that like don't even want any of that. Like, they don't think about that ever, or they even want anything to do with leadership. Crazy. I can't even comprehend that.
It's insane. And I mean, a lot of the things you're saying right now is, I mean, all the things we're going to talk about are tied in together, very, like, not coincidentally, like very precisely is the word I'm looking for. In order to lead yourself in the best way, lead others, lead, I don't know, any part of your life, anything that you just said, you have to be able to get to be influenced by the people around you in a positive way.
Right.
So if you're, like I said, if you're surrounded by all these people that don't want to lead others, that don't really care, are the 72% that don't want to be a leader. I mean, how are you gonna want to be a leader and lead people and change people's lives if everyone you're surrounding yourself with wants nothing to do with it? It's just crazy stat right there. I mean, of course it's just one survey, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty hefty.
Yeah.
And obviously the way society is and things are trending these days, that doesn't really surprise me, which is sad, but still very scary.
Yeah. And going back to like you are the what is it?
The sum of, or
Yeah, I think I say
average.
some. That's what I was gonna say, but I didn't know if that was right.
whatever.
You are the average of the 5 people you hang out with.
Right, yeah.
Like, if let's say the 5 people that you're hanging out with are like, they're all like going and partying every weekend. They vape, they smoke, they drink, they do all these things. They're not going to the gym. They don't read their Bible. They're not taking care of themselves. Like, they're not in any way trying to better themselves or even care about God in any way. What are the odds that you are the only person to do something different than them? So if you're hanging out with these 5 people, what are the odds that you're the one that's going to the gym and you're not drinking when everyone's drinking? You're hanging out with them and you're not smoking, you're not fit, whatever. You're not doing all these things that they're doing. What are the odds that over time you're just going to keep being the one? Very low.
Yeah.
You're going to be influenced by the people that you hang out with, which is why you need to have that filter over your friend group and with the people that you're spending time with.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said earlier, it's very intentional. Very intentional. It doesn't just happen by accident. So, I mean, you really have to focus. Hey, you have a friend of a friend. Hey, man, can this guy hang out with us tonight? Whatever, like, he's a cool guy. You come to meet him, and he's just, none of his beliefs, none of his actions, nothing aligns with what you do or what you believe in. And it's just like, all right, well, maybe he's a cool guy to hang out with for a night. I'm not saying like don't ever hang out with someone like this, but spending the most time, maybe bring him into the group, into like the regular rotation. Maybe that's something you think twice on, instead of just, hey, he's a cool guy. We had a fun time the first night I met him. Hey, why don't you come along next time we do something?
Yeah.
Not that you have to avoid him at all costs, but again, the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah. Yeah, not like people you see at school. Like if you're in public school and you see the same kids in class every day. Like they're school friends. Like I know you've been to school. You know that you've got your friends and then you've got your school friends. We're not talking about the school friends because they're just school friends. Like they're cool, whatever. It doesn't really matter what they believe or whatever because you're not trying to build a deep connection or relationship with them. We're talking about like your weekend friends. Like you hang out with them all the time and.
Yep.
The people that you spend the most time with.
Sure. Which is sort of like 3 a.m. friends. I know.
Yep.
We both love that.
Yeah.
But it's a friend that you can call no matter what. You're stranded. Your car broke down at 3 a.m. Ooh, jeez. Your car broke down at 3 a.m. You're going through something super, super tough. And it's that friend that you know that every time you pick up the phone and call, he's going to answer. He's going to be there for you. Usually you don't have very many. Most people have one, if any. But definitely finding that one friend that's kind of like, all right, you're a 3 a.m. friend. Like, hey, I just got myself into some deep shit. I need your help, man. And he'll be there. So it's very, very valuable. I know you and I both have one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Which is awesome. But yeah, I can't really stress just how important that is because it's almost like a foundation. Like, of course, our quote is the 5 most people you spend the most time around. But there's always needs to be that one that's kind of like your foundation. Like, yes, I spend the most time around these 5 people, but I always have that one friend that no matter what, he's got my back.
And I would actually want to hone in on that, share a Bible verse that, I have jotted down here, and talk about like in public school, there's like a trend of like big friend groups. And like there's like the popular friend group. There's like the, like more gaming friend group, like whatever. There's different friend groups, but the popular friend group's that big friend group, and that's the one that's hard to be the one person or whatever, whether you want it or not. And everyone like in that friend group, I know people think like I have to have all these friends, I have to have this many friends, but you do not. And which is why he's saying the 1 3 a.m. friend. He's not saying the 5 3 a.m. friends because you're not gonna ever find 5 3 a.m. friends or whatever.
It's a very rare exception if you do, and if you do. Kudos to you, because that's pretty
good on you. Never heard of it happen before.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me find it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, same with like the lunch table or whatever. Like you'll have different groups at the lunch table. Same type of thing, but. Yeah.
Okay. So it's Proverbs 18 verse 24. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Sorry. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. That's Proverbs 18 verse 24. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about when we talk about like you want all these friends, you think you need all these friends, but you don't, which Proverbs just told you don't need all these friends.
Yep.
There's always going to be that one friend that you see as a brother, which I know I have and I know you have.
Absolutely.
And I know they're probably about the same people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got anything to add on that?
No, that's good. I mean, it's crazy. That verse goes exactly with your example with all the kids at school. Like, of course, there's a big group of friends. And I mean, also, a whole nother story is the public school system and the people that are in it.
Right.
So there's always going to be people there and a lot of people there that are going to want to party every weekend.
Yep.
Go get drunk, go smoke weed, go do all these things. And for you to be the one person amongst all those people, there's just no way. that also ties into relationships. And I mean, how if you have that many friends, how many relationships can you really build? Can you really work on? Can you how many people can you really get tight with if you're friends with 15, 20, 25 people all in this big like school friend group? Like
Right.
you're going to end up being surrounding yourself with a bunch of people that are just like in kind of fake, not I don't want to say fake, but weak relationships that really have no foundation.
Their
So,
foundation is partying every weekend and
Exactly.
getting drunk together, and we take really cool, cute videos.
Yeah,
Like, oh my God.
exactly.
I can't tell you how many times I've seen videos like that pop up on my story feed and all that.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah, but I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, and I wanted to kind of circle back around. But if you hang out with people that don't do this, you won't do that. You won't do that either. A lot of things, or some things I thought about were, if you hang out with people who don't work out, you're not going to work out either. If
Right.
you don't hang out with people that study the Bible, you're not going to want to study the Bible either. If you hang out with people that don't work hard, you're not going to want to work hard either. I mean, if your whole group is just like, you know, just, I don't know what's the word, coasting through school, you know, they got a little job, make a little bit of money, nothing crazy, and
Using
then
that money for their fun activities on the weekends.
their substances.
Their substances.
Yeah. And that's like, nobody's actually really willing to work hard and have a goal. Then, I mean, how are you going to be that one person that sticks out? How are you going to influence them? Because this is a leadership podcast
Right.
through a faith-based lens. How are you going to
Leadership is influence. Let me just add that.
100%. But how are you going to be that one person that leads these people to work hard or to work out or study the Bible? How are you going to be that one person with a bunch 20, 25 people are when 20, 25 people are not those
Yeah.
people that are around you?
The odds are very, very low.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
extremely. If you hang out with people that don't better themselves in any way, don't listen to podcasts, don't read books, I mean, don't want to grow their knowledge or anything like that at all.
No ambition.
Yeah. Then you're not going to do it either. Another thing is people who aren't disciplined. You're not going to be disciplined either. Discipline's a whole thing, a whole rant we could get on.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole nother podcast for another day.
100%. But
Discipline's huge. Discipline's really huge.
it
and
really is, and it's a skill.
It is. That's something I've learned in the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
That I've always had some sort of discipline, but a whole nother level of discipline that I had to teach myself and learn has been going on, and it's still even furthering it now.
oh yeah. I mean, it's a lifelong journey.
Yes, it is. It's one of those things that you'll never fully necessarily master.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, you want to tell a story, our little friend group story about
Oh, our
our little summer?
Our little, yeah. So what should we call them?
All right, so let's paint the picture, okay?
Yeah.
This takes place in the summer of 2023, which would be last summer, right? This is really where our current friend group really formed and really came together. Because before that, it was like in and out. Like had a few friends we were hanging out with constantly, and this is what really made our friend group and turned into what it is today, which I'll explain later on what it looks like now compared to what it looks like at the start. And so really, tie into a lot of like that filter and like realizing people aren't always what they seem. So the summer of 23, right? Great summer. We have this buddy that we work with. Let's call him Steve.
Steve.
I like Steve. Steve's a big guy, big Steve. All right. So Steve, right? We work with him, right? We get to know him at work. Like he's a cool guy. Like honestly, we like this guy. So we start hanging out with Steve. We're probably hanging out with Steve probably six something months, whatever. No, oh man, I'm gonna have to go like 8 months. Let's say like 8 months before the summer started. We were like, since October of 22, we're really hanging out with Steve all the time. Like we're getting to know Steve. We like Steve a lot. And Steve, later on we get to know Steve better, and summer's starting to roll around. It's probably like end of April, start of May. Introduces us to one of his like lifelong friends, or he's been friends with his whole life.
Yep.
We're gonna call him
Hugh.
Huey, what up, brother?
Hugh.
All right, Hugh. Okay, so Hugh, he introduces us to his friend Hugh, and Hugh, great guy. So he comes off like he's hilarious.
Very likable guy.
Yeah, very likable
off the
guy.
bat.
Great personality. One of the funniest guys I've probably ever met, and I'll still say to this day, one of the funniest guys I've probably ever met in my entire
100%.
life. Right?
Naturally gifted.
Yes, that was his God-given gift. That I don't.
Is his God-given gift.
What'd I say?
Was.
Oh, he's not dead.
It was, and it was taken from.
Hugh is still alive, I promise you. No, but Hugh, his God-given gift is just that sense of humor and the way that he connects with people through his humor. And that is a very beautiful thing, right? So straight off the bat, we hit it off with Hugh, and then we go into his pool with Hugh and Steve, and it's me, Josh, Hugh, Steve. We're hanging out, and then Hugh has two other friends. Our friends, I don't know, do we name them?
Jack and
Slim.
And Slim. Okay.
Jack and Slim, all right?
Okay,
We'll call him Jack.
I like Slim. I know who Slim is.
Slim's a great story of why I'd be calling our friend Slim here. You might know him. He's a famous rapper.
Yeah,
he
sure
used to
is.
be Slim Shady. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
So we call him
Slim plays tennis.
Slim plays tennis. Okay, so call him Jack and Slim, all right?
Yeah.
Hugh introduces us to them, right? And then we hit it off with them.
Yeah.
Slim.
So, and just quick recap. Jack
and Hugh.
Slim.
No. Jack is Jack and Slim. Oh yeah, Jack and Slim.
No.
And then Steve and Hugh.
Oh, Steve and Hugh. Okay. So Steve introduced us to Hugh. Hugh and kind of Steve introduced us to Slim and Jack.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there creates our huge friend group. We kind of get this really big friend group going because they also have little side characters too.
There was many more than just those four that we named.
Yeah,
but those are the ones of significance.
Yeah. So our group consists of Jack, Slim, Hugh, Steve, me, Josh, other buddy Will. Well, I'll name him. He's a cool guy. And like our friend Elliot that we talked about last podcast.
Yep.
His brother Caleb, whatever. So we have like this huge friend group that we formed through all from the connections of Steve. Steve in the beginning
that we worked with.
Yes, that we worked with and got to know pretty well for a few months, and now we're hanging out every day at summer. We're starting to get really close. Like we all loving each other. Summer goes by. We hung out almost every single day of summer.
Oh yeah,
literally every single day. We would work and then we'd hang out after work or whatever. We got them all every single. It was just me, Josh, Steve, working at Chick-fil-A and Will, and we were able to get our friend Hugh, Jack, and Slim all to come work at Chick-fil-A with us. Whatever. So we're hanging out all summer. Turns into 2023 first semester football games, Friday Night Lights. We're going to football games. Like our friendship with all of them is growing, and we're getting closer, and we're becoming better friends. And don't mind me, sorry. We're becoming better friends and get to know each other very well. And then Friday, and I say getting closer to November, October, November, December.
Roughly,
things start to get a little like I start to pick up on like this like vibe of like I have a feeling something's gonna happen. Like I start to get like this intuition almost. Like I have a feeling it's gonna be because something with Hugh and Steve, something's gonna happen. And during this time, like I'd say from the summer to Friday Night Lights, our friendship with Steve was already starting to. Steve we work with was already starting to drift on its own, for a couple reasons, a lot of reasons. No need to name, but but we're still super tight with Hugh and Slim and Jack or whatever.
Mhm.
And so out of nowhere, we're all on the game one night, and we're all just playing, talking, have a good time, and something we do in our friend group, we pick on each other. It's like how we connect with each other. It's
Oh, yeah.
humor.
If you can't take it, don't dish it.
Right.
So
we all dish it to each other.
We dish it.
Yeah.
So the expectation is we all take it, especially if you're gonna diss it, which all of us dish it.
Dish it.
Yeah. Whatever. Same thing.
And so one night, we had this big group chat, of our friend group, and about four of them, four being Steve, Hugh, and two others.
Yeah.
Two others all just leave the group chat out of nowhere, and we're all confused. And then they're we asked them, "What's up? Like, what happened?" They're telling us "Oh, there's no point in us saying anything because you guys wouldn't even care in the first place." And we're like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Well, hey, great communication.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah, great communication.
Yeah, I mean, this clears it all up.
Yeah, thank you for letting me know what we did wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we're just so confused, and weeks and weeks go by, and we finally get it all out. We figure out they finally tell us everything and what they think we did wrong, and we did a lot wrong.
It ended up being they couldn't take it anymore. That's our sense of humor. That's how we love on each other. Is we pick on each other, and
Tough love.
yeah, 100%. And they weren't a fan. Which is totally fine.
Yeah, totally fair.
Totally up to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't judge them at all for it. But
There's not if you don't think that if it hurts your feelings, that kind of stuff, that's fair, dude. Hurt your feelings, you gotta tell us that though.
Yeah.
That was never said to us, so everything stayed the same for us.
Right.
It was hurting their feelings, and we didn't even know, or whatever. Sorry, I don't know. I'm kind of
No,
lost.
you're good.
I'm sorry, I got lost in the story.
Yeah. So they left the group chat. Weeks go by. They, we finally dig it out of them. Hey guys, we're really upset. We feel like we get made fun of, whatever. We just really aren't big on it. We're all right, that's totally fair. And let's talk after work or whatever. I forget how exactly it went down, but there were some conversations after work. There were
we all work together?
Conversations over text. Yeah.
Yeah, there are lots of conversations that were had, and just trying to work it out because I'm not a big beef guy. I don't want to have beef with people. I hate that.
And what's the reason?
Yeah,
there's no reason.
I hate it. I don't like it. I want to talk it out, but through this situation, the moral of the story is through this situation we learned that these people are not where they need to be with us in our friend group. They are the crabs. We are the crabs trying to get out, and they're the crabs pulling us down, also trying to get out. Yep. Right? And we came to realize that through all of this and all the immaturity, and it's we're on this path of getting closer with God, trying to better ourselves, become better leaders, and they're on this completely separate path, which was pointed out clearly with the way they handle things, and knowing a little more details, but not really relevant. But
right. And during before all that ended like that, there's a lot that when you're friends with people, there's a lot that you can look past, kind of, or that maybe even subconsciously you look past. So you hear, hey, this person did this, or this person did this. Yeah, but they're a great guy. We're very good friends with them. Big mistake, whatever. When you start racking those up, it's all right, it maybe raises an eyebrow. And it's very interesting how, as they racked up more and more, all of a sudden it ended.
Yeah.
And then we could see kind of all the stuff that we had
looked past.
Yeah, but ignored previously.
Then we had this whole list of, wow, this is why we should not be friends with them. Mm-hmm. And so we continued to not be friends with them, and our friend group really shrunk. It shrunk, and we lost those 4
people.
Yeah, about 5 people.
It cut in half, if not a little more.
Yeah. for the better though, because we didn't
100%.
even realize like we were not getting better as like people, as leaders and stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't progressing the way it should have been. We didn't even know why until this happened, and it really just was eye opening. It was like, oh my gosh, like this was the lacking problem, because we are the sum of the 5 people we hang out with, or in that case, the whatever 8-10 people we hang out with. Like we are the sum of them, and if they're they're on this downhill slope and we're on this uphill slope, like we're
So
two completely different directions. There's nothing similar about
There's a
those.
rope tied between us and our friendship.
Right.
We're not going anywhere.
No, exactly.
Nowhere.
So what you do is you have to cut them out, which is what we did. It was hard. It was hard because like I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Like like our views don't align with Hugh, but I like Hugh. Like I think Hugh's a great guy.
Yeah. He's got a lot going for him. And I mean, it's crazy that how blinding it can be when you're just having so much fun.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm not growing as a person. This person's not helping me grow. We're really good friends, and we have good time. Like, we have good times with each other. But could I really like trust this person if like a bunch of stuff went down? Like, could I really count on this person? I guess.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy how you kind of look past and ignore and are just blinded by just having a good time. And so much so that when they aren't helping you be better, anything, you don't realize it unless you look for it. And that kind of how it ended, just like all of a sudden, boom, they're out of the group chat. And like, wow, okay, well, they're gone. We haven't hung out with them in 3 weeks. I feel way better.
Yeah.
I feel
Weirdly better. Like
Yeah.
this feels right.
this
This
feels
is what it
like
should look like.
yeah, we're having real conversations. We're having tough conversations, which is something that never happened.
Yep.
It was all fun.
That and
Nothing real.
because when tough conversations came about with those people, Steve, Hugh, and all of them, it would get blown off, or it was like we were attacking them and they didn't see it the right way, and then we're like, okay, well, we just won't want to talk to you about that. Then we just won't talk to you, and then now. Like the conversations that our close friend group has now, like our close circle, because Caleb and Elliot, our buddies, live in a whole other state. We don't see him as much. And our other buddy Cam in college in the middle of Georgia. Our friend group that we hang out with like regularly is, let's see, you, me,
Jack Slim
Jack Slim.
and Will, because he's a cool guy.
So six of us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6 of us now, and sometimes Evan.
Sometimes 7.
Shout out Steven.
Steven.
What up, brother? So let's just say that normally it's the 6 of us now. So it went from probably like with all the side characters, probably went from like 12, 13.
13 is what I was
around,
thinking too.
Around there to now 6, almost cut in half. Or cut in half or a little more. And for the better. And now we're having those tough conversations. Like our friend group right now, we're all so tight, we're all so close, and we pick on each other and we do all these things that we did in the first place. And we're doing that plus now these like deep conversations and the hard conversations and like
holding each other accountable.
Yep.
And not to mention what, like I was saying earlier, we all work out. We all are studying the Bible or are in pursuit of a better and stronger faith.
Yep.
We all are looking to better ourselves. We are all working on our discipline. We all are seeking knowledge and wisdom. I mean, all of this is just across the board. I mean, not to say that we're perfect by any means. I mean, we all make mistakes. And I mean, obviously we're not anything like supernatural or anything crazy, but
we're not Jesus. Never will be.
No, definitely not. But we have made a very strong effort after our eyes were kind of opened. We've made a very strong effort to really surround ourselves by real people. And there have been a couple people that have come along and it's just like, no, we can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like, you're a cool guy, but you don't fit the standards of our friend group, because
exactly.
just like relationship standards and female standards, like there's standards in our friend group. Like if you drink, smoke, or vape, you do any of that once, you're out. Like that, we have like really high standards that we set for our friend group.
Or if you steal from the outlet store.
If you steal in general, we don't do that here.
Yeah, we don't.
Our friends don't do that. And you're out. Like non-negotiable. Like you went and got drunk one weekend. I'm sorry. Like we don't do that here.
Yeah.
We set these high standards, and I was just looking at. I keep eyeing this verse. I just want to read it.
Yeah.
Proverbs. It's Proverbs 13:20. It's whoever walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools will suffer harm. That's one. That's the one you jot down.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's just like it paints a very clear picture. I think it's the one I said earlier, but I didn't really go into much detail. It's a very strong verse, and it has a it's very weird how much it ties into what we're talking about.
Did you say that verse earlier?
I did, yeah.
What the hell?
It's okay.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. One that I really like is 1 Corinthians 15:33. I think it's probably the most relatable one. I mean, it's pretty close to that Proverbs verse, but it's if we want to know the Lord and become more like him, we must surround ourselves by people who desire the same things.
Yep.
So, I mean, average or sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I mean,
like I want to go to the gym. I want to get better with my faith. I want to be more disciplined. I want to read my Bible more. I want to do all these things. Now I have to surround myself with people who also want those same things, and they have the same desires as it, which the sum of the 5 people you hang out with.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, it's a really good one. We also have another little story of
You got this one. You're gonna know a lot better than me.
Yeah. We also have a friend. This is more in the past, but we had a friend who really just wasn't meeting our standards, if you will. That really,
we call him Jack.
In
In case you're wondering, this is our friend
call him
Jack here.
This is our friend.
Remember Jack and Slim?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is Jack here. We call him Jack. All right.
But Jack, we all love Jack. Jack's a great guy.
Yeah.
Nicest guy you'll ever meet in your whole life.
Yeah, dude.
Huge heart.
Yeah.
But just the thing about Jack is that he just doesn't seem motivated to do anything. He comes to our Bible study that we hold every Sunday morning before church. We're always talking about like ways to better ourselves. We're always talking about our goals, but Jack just doesn't. He just doesn't participate, I guess.
Yeah, like we'll go to Bible study, we're all talking, and he's like,
he's listening.
He's listening, but he's not, having much input.
Right.
And it doesn't look like he's taking as much away as maybe the rest of us.
Mm-hmm. So we decided to all kind of pour into Jack because the potential is there and it's unbelievable, especially with the gifts that God has given him. But he just hasn't truly unlocked it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but he hasn't really truly unlocked it yet. Which
he hasn't unleashed the dog.
Yeah,
the dog is still inside.
Exactly.
He needs to bring the dog out.
Yeah, so we all decided to pour into him. We love this guy, and the potential's there. That's the difference between a Steve or a Hugh that we just cut out. I mean, they're too far gone.
Yeah, the potential was not there anymore. There was no
Right.
light at the end of the tunnel. It was just a dark tunnel.
Yeah, dark cave.
Yeah.
But we all kind of poured into him, and that's when it all kind of started to change. I mean, he was more motivated. He actually set goals that he wanted to achieve. He's in the gym now. I mean, he's pursuing a faith and relationship in Christ, and he's reading his Bible. I mean, all this stuff. But that's because we poured into him. We, not to say, I don't want to make it sound like he was like lesser and we were more, and like, because by the grace of our hearts, we pulled him up, like, go us.
Yeah.
But like, he kind of just needed like a little nudge, and he needed
in the right direction.
Correct. Yeah. And he just needed, to be held accountable, to be, all these things that we, set the standard of our friend group as, and he kind of just needed to be pushed more into it.
Yeah.
But definitely a huge difference, which is a really cool story. Shout out Jack. We love Jack.
Jack the goat, bro. I love Jack.
Yeah, for real. But But
yeah, I mean I'm just gonna add to that just a little bit.
Yeah.
That really just shows like what good friends can be. Like for him, some of the 5 people he hangs out with was us, and we were those people to help bring him up. And I actually, you have something about God, I don't know.
What do you mean?
It's on here.
Is it a verse or?
No, what, dude? I swear there's something I was. Oh, the person who's gonna help you do you or whatever. I don't know. You had it order weird. I don't know.
I did want to add, while you look for whatever you're looking for, a verse that really sticks out to me about this story in particular is Proverbs 27:17, which is a fairly common verse that a lot of people have heard, but just because a verse is common doesn't take away its meaning. Only thing that takes away from its meaning is lack of context. However, iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. So iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another, or multiple men sharpen another. Same thing. But it really just goes really well with this story about Jack. And, we were the iron to sharpen his iron. It sounds gay. It's not gay. I don't mean it in a gay way.
Why are you gay?
But yeah, that is about it. I had a few more verses that I never really got to touch on. Actually 4 more that are just like really good. So I just want to say those real quick in case it really
resonate with anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One is 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build one another up, just as you are doing. I have 2 more now from Proverbs, which Proverbs is just a great book in the Bible for what we're talking about. It's one who is righteous is a guide to his neighbor, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. I think that one's really good.
And that's Proverbs 12:26.
Yeah.
Sorry, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
I can read the last 2.
Yeah.
Next one we have is Proverbs 24:6, which says, For by
wise guidance.
Sorry, I know I was swallowing. For by wise guidance you can wage your war, and in an abundance of counselors there's victory. Oh, I don't really get that one.
So, by wise guidance, you can wage your war. So people around you, you can kind of go into battle with like good people influencing you.
Armor up your friends.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good way to put
armory.
it too. But almost like a council. People around you talking to you, people influencing you, people, guiding you, giving you advice, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
For by wise guidance, you can wage your war. You can go into your battle, whatever. And in abundance of counselors, there's victory. So you'll go into battle and you'll be victorious because of all the tools, all the advice, everything you're hearing from the people around you. It'll equip you better to win the war, the wages of your war.
It'll armor you.
Armor you.
Like the Armory.
Welcome to the Armory Podcast.
Best podcast out there.
One more. It's
Can I please read?
Oh,
I
yeah.
said I'll read the last one.
Okay, you can read the last one, man. I'm sorry.
Gosh, dude.
I'm sorry.
This one comes from Matthew, which I'm currently reading. Love Matthew. Great book. Highly recommend. I'm going to keep saying that because I freaking love this book. But it's
Powerful book.
very, very powerful. But it's Matthew 18:20. For where 2 or more gather in my name, there I am with them. Gosh, I did not, dude. Oh my gosh, I love that one.
Yeah.
I reference that one all the time because we have a friend, shout out Will, who's like, really struggling with like, people in his life who are telling him like, you have to do this or you have to go to church or you have to do this. And for those of you who like think like we're gonna tell you to go to church, sorry, this is so random.
Yeah.
But I want it to be known like. The only way you're going to get better is you're going to go to church. That's not true. Church looks like anything, or that verse tells you, where 2 or more gather in my name, there I'm with you, which is actually what we're doing right now. This is church. This is like us talking.
Kind of. Yes. I see I know what you're getting at, but it's like, it's more like when people gather around, like the Bible calls us to gather in community.
Yep.
Nowhere in the Bible. Yeah. Nowhere in the Bible does it say you have to go to church every single Sunday. Or else. or
You're
else,
going to hell.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll face my wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It never says you have to go to church. It says you have to meet in community, which is what church is, but it can also look other ways.
Right. Like a Bible study, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like what we do a Bible study.
And if you go to church, we encourage you to keep going to church.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a church as well, great church.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong at all with church. But to those people that are like, oh, like I can't miss a Sunday, as long as you're like gathering in community, like we have a Bible study, we have, we have, we gather in community. So I mean, church every weekend is not like super necessary. But on the contrary, we do want you to keep going to church. That's not what we're
absolutely.
saying. Yeah.
But for people who are like just getting started, like they don't know, like they're trying to learn and grow their faith, and they don't necessarily know what steps they have to take. You don't have to go to church. Like don't let people tell you, well, start by going to church every Sunday. Like that's a good start. You can.
Oh, it's a fantastic start, really.
Start by prayer. Start by reading your Bible. Whatever. You don't have to go to church. You can work your way there. Nothing wrong with it. Whatever. I think it's going to wrap this episode up.
Yeah, and I real quick did want to wrap it up with just kind of circling back our main points. Our big quote of the podcast, like we didn't already say it 18 times, but you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Build your friend group. Build the people around you. It's your choice who you hang out with.
Yep.
So be intentional. Like I said earlier, be intentional with building a solid friend group. It won't just happen on accident. It's not just you're not just gonna stumble into just a fantastic friend group that checks all your boxes and meets all your standards. I mean, it's never gonna happen on accident.
Friend group has growth too.
Yeah.
Just like self-development, your friend group will have development of its own. You just want to make friends based off of potential, or like you can see this happening, or they have like the spark and they just need to spark it with each other, whatever that may look like.
Yeah. That is going to conclude our podcast. Do you have anything else real quick before we close it out?
Then I think of.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next one.